Semifinal number 2 is part of the 2016 Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament coverage here on the Big Ten Network. Your number 3 seed Wisconsin, your number 2 seed Indiana. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Todd Yeagley's Indiana Hoosiers.
Tanner Thompson, the midfielder of the year for the league, and 8 goals to assist. He was questionable going into this weekend. He's starting in the midfield. He's surrounded by great talent. Christopher Lamelli getting his 5th start in goal for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Boy, what a big change at the end of the season with Lamelli and Mel starting for the Hoosiers. This is John Trask, high-flying Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, Tommy Barlow and Chris Mueller, what a great strike combination. But Mueller is so exciting. Had there been a second place in that midfielder of the year contest, or even offensive player of the year, it would have been Chris Mueller. He's been terrific up top. We talked about Phil Schilling. We're going to talk more about him because he is tremendous between the pipes with a .64 goals against for the Badgers.
Yeah, the German transfer has been amazing. The Wisconsin Badgers in their away reds. The Indiana Hoosiers will be in their home whites. And so much history ties these two teams together. Of course, John Trask played for the Godfather, coached for the Godfather, Jerry Yeagley, Todd's dad. Todd Yeagley getting his opportunity at Wisconsin for 1 year before getting the call from Bloomington, come on home, Todd Yeagley. Who replaces him at Wisconsin? John Trask.
Well, I can't believe that John Trask was not a candidate for the Indiana job when Mike Freitag was gone. And so it's even more interesting there. But you have to go back a number of decades, Dean, to point out where the relationship between Trask and Todd Yeagley started. Back when John was a player at Indiana, Jerry made sure that John spent time with Todd, training him when Todd was, barely 4 feet tall.
Wow.
And then when Todd went to high school, Jerry made sure that John coached the high school team in Bloomington so that Todd would get the kind of young development that he needed in order to become the college player that he was in Indiana, a 4-time All-American, and then eventually a pro with Columbus Crew SC.
Did I mention that the ties run deep between these two teams? What an outstanding breakdown. Obviously a big Indiana connection, but keep in mind John Trask grew up in Wisconsin, so despite going to Indiana, he is Wisconsin through and through now for sure. Now in his 7th season. In 2013, he put Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament for the first time in 18 years. That same year, the team right there in red got their first win in the NCAA tournament since 1995. The only year Wisconsin has won the national championship. And right now, Wisconsin, you got to believe, should be in the NCAA tournament again this year.
One of those years, I woke up to go to an IU-Wisconsin soccer match on Sunday morning, and some Wisconsin fans had come in and painted a W on the Indiana home field center circle before that game. I could laugh about it now, but I was insulted back then.
All right, so Wisconsin again in all red, Indiana in all white. Reminding you that the Maryland Terrapins in the first game here on semifinal Friday on the Big Ten Network. Sasho Soroski's team knocking off Damon Rensing's Michigan State Spartans by a score of 2-1. And you got to figure Michigan State, while eliminated from the Big Ten tournament, they're also going to be involved in the NCAA tournament. And our resident RPI guru, Tim Lenahan, the head coach of Northwestern, I'm sure has got that dialed in already.
Yeah, in fact, some of his coaches actually call Tim Lenahan throughout the course of the season to kind of get a true gauge of what Coach Lenahan thinks of their team. And Coach Lenahan is always happy to oblige, having sat on the NCAA committee and been a part of the advisory process in putting teams in the tournament. This is dangerous for Wisconsin with their long throws. They're great on set pieces.
So Wisconsin now deep. Brian Hale, one of the few seniors that play and even start for Wisconsin. It's about the junior class and about the transfers from Germany. As Noah Leibold as well in the middle with Philip Schilling, a couple of outstanding German players, a perfect mix here for John Trask taking on Indiana. As if you needed more ties to this game, there's John Trask. How about Don Rawson, Indiana Sports Properties, and his company in conjunction with the city of Westfield, Indiana, the big pushers, the movers, the shakers behind bringing this tournament to Grant Park. Don Rawson, longtime coach in Indiana.
Yeah, he was the one who actually, and he may shoot me for saying this, introduced the short corner kick play that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't when he was an assistant coach, and he got a lot of ribbing because of it. But, working the long kick and the short kick at times, but doing a lot in terms of player recruiting and, of course, coaching on the field, too. So Don Rawson, longtime friend and family of the Indiana soccer family.
And with Westfield, part of this incredible visionary, we talked about the fact that over $150 million generated because of this incredible facility. There's a boys soccer tournament going on right now, and many of those young men are here watching some of the best college players in the country. Early on, Wisconsin keeping possession. O'Neal, the junior from Louisville. It's O'Neal on one side and Alon Koenig on the other. But here comes Indiana. Turning the corner is Phil Fives. Transfer from Akron. Great left foot. Doesn't score a ton of goals, but he has had some great finishes during his 2 years at Indiana.
Thought Phil Fives was going to make the corner on Elon Koenig, but he wasn't. He's got Andrew Gutman coming up from behind, and Wisconsin's very much aware of how potent that left side of the attack is for Indiana. Andrew Gutman, the left-sided back, who does not mind dribbling in the box and is quite good at it. He also drops a ball on a dime with his left foot.
Richard Ballard, what a story he is, wearing number 18. Part of that 2012 national championship team for the Indiana Hoosiers, then redshirted in 2013. Here's a guy in number 18 in white. You see him right there wearing the armband. Started a ton of games that freshman year. Then they decided to redshirt as they were loaded in 13, a year they struggled. And he's had spot duty, let's face it, in 14-15. And he hung in there. He's second team All Big Ten.
Yeah, it's exceptional for Rich. He's been waiting for his moment, watching year in and year out as Indiana has gone searching for a goal scorer up top. Rashad Hyacinth proving to be a really strong player, but mostly with his back to goal to bring other players in. Ballard gets his chance. He's paid off the team, 4 goals, 2 assists on the season.
Yeah, I love his story for sure. As he, along with Derek Krevinston, the redshirt senior, were able to sniff that national championship in 2012 for the Indiana Hoosiers. Here's Thompson, the Big Ten midfielder of the year, back-to-back years. That is not an easy feat when you think about the quality of players in the Big Ten. Here's Thompson wearing that number 10 jersey, one bounce, and the acrobatic shilling has it.
Big ball inside from Tanner Thompson. Tanner was listed as questionable going into the training week. He actually didn't train several days this week. He got dinged last week on his left ankle and really worked hard on the rehab with athletic trainer Joe Lukin. Was able to get himself game ready. And we talked to Todd Yeagley yesterday, and Todd didn't even hesitate. He's ready for the weekend. You have a player of that quality, you've got to have him on the field.
Indiana leads the series 38-5-7. We told you their last match coming October 21st, 110 minutes, no score. Most of the games between these two teams in the last several years have been either ties or 1-goal victories. And there's Todd Yeagley, former player of the year. The same year, Brian Mazanoff, the Mack and Herman, each of them took 1 trophy each. Pretty amazing coming from the same team. I mean, how nearly impossible is that?
I'm sure it's impossible. It was extraordinary. I remember that season very, very well. And to have them split the year-end award like that, of course, you can't do it anymore because it's all one award, but it just was a phenomenal feat. And then for both of them to wait a year until Columbus Crew SC came to fruition in Major League Soccer. Todd played down with the Richmond Kickers and then came back and was ready to go play with Columbus as the league got started.
And Brian Mazanoff, of course, Mazanoff as well, a World Cup starter for the USA, and those two now side by side on the bench. An amazing story of just strong friendship. It's loose here. Ballard trying to get to it. Thompson will deal. Be right to Schilling.
Phil Schilling is only 5'8", but he plays so much bigger than that. I know that shot didn't test him all that much, but when we talk about John Trask and what his goalkeeper reminds him of, he talks about the smaller goalkeepers, the John Bushes and the Jorge Camposes of the professional soccer world. He's extraordinary with his feet. We've noticed that he's got a great personality out there and several years of success ahead, I'm sure, for Phil Schilling.
Mueller. That's why the comparison to Jorge Campos, I think, is more spot on, because you'll see Schilling dribble the ball outside of the 18. Of course, that Wisconsin-Northwestern game, we thought he was going to take it and run to midfield with it. And that's what Jorge Campos, who actually used to take off his goalkeeper jersey and play center forward for the Mexican national team. Long throw in again for Wisconsin. How about John Trask? These are his quotes. Quote from John talking to him this week: "We are not surprised at our success. We think we are a college cup team, Final Four team. And we are not just winning games," quote, "we are manhandling teams right now."
I mean, that's what you want to hear in the locker room from your coach, right?
Confidence is a mile high for John Trask and his coaching staff, Keith Tiemeyer.
Don't let him turn, don't let him turn. Right footed!
The Hoosiers staying with it. There's the hero Swartz.
And I know this sounds mundane and obvious even, but what you're seeing in that sequence is Indiana gaining confidence in their possession, but Wisconsin gaining confidence in the way they're defending, because these two teams play very much alike, and they've got to do the job well on both sides of the ball. Really great work from the way Wisconsin responded there, and good stuff from Indiana.
There's Schilling. Great article on the Wisconsin Badgers website about Philip Schilling being a little bit surprised that he didn't make first team or second team All Big Ten. John Trask echoing those sentiments. But now he said it's about winning the Big Ten tournament and advancing on the season and less about the awards.
I'll tell you how great it is to see that number 2 white jersey on the field today. Billy Mcconnell, several weeks ago in the game against Michigan, he came out with a really difficult injury to his ankle, had to sit 10 days, was able to work himself back into form at that right back slot. So important, as Indiana's the kind of team, as is Wisconsin, where they get a lot of width in the midfield from their outside backs.
Wisconsin in all red, Indiana in all white. No score. Maryland in. They'll be playing at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Championship Sunday on the Big Ten Network. Awaiting the winner of this one. And there is the aforementioned McConnell. We'll drop it back to Timmy Mell, who took over the spot from Derek Creviston. Similar about the same time where Colin Webb, who burst onto the scene in 2013 in goal, as you see Tim Mell, who really looked good when Grant Lillard was red carded and wasn't able to play against Maryland. He did a great job in that game.
Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore. He's got really nice confidence over the ball, and he's a very strong distributor, which is important. When those center backs get the ball and the wing backs are forward, you want to depend on quality service from your center backs.
Wisconsin building it out of the back. And there's our first real good look at Christian Lamelli, the senior, now starting his 5th straight game, the transfer from IUPUI, who has just been waiting around. Todd Yeagley, more of a gut, just something in his gut told him it's time to go to Lamelli, as Colin Webb has pretty much started since his freshman campaign back in 2013, at least the end of that campaign. The Hoosiers going the other way. Phil Fives back across, but nobody home, hoping a white jersey was there.
Good numbers defensively for Wisconsin. Opportunity far post, as Phil Fives is really, really strong on the ball. He's working hard to get to the goal line and get a cross in. 1v1 out there against Elon Koenig, and able to get a nice service in there. Maybe pull that out just a hair. 8 times out of 10, Schilling probably snags that down, but you know, you want to be hunting for the opportunity as often as you possibly can.
Ballard searching for it. That IU logo with 8 stars above it for national championships under the Godfather at 82, 83, 88, 98, 99, and 2003. He retired that year with number 6. The next year, Mike Freitag won it in 2004. In steps the son of the Godfather, Todd Yeagley, and he adds a star in 2012. Without question, perhaps the most storied men's college soccer program of all time, for sure. Played over the top, trying to get it to Phil Fives. And Chris, if you ask the Godfather, I think he probably enjoyed his son winning in 2012 more than any of them.
Yeah, because his son didn't win a national championship when he was playing at Indiana, and that may have been one of the bigger disappointments. They took Virginia to the final, and they were not able to accomplish the feat that year. So, and you think about the pressure that wasn't on Jerry's shoulders that year that they went down to Hoover, Alabama, and won that national championship. The pressure was all on Todd's shoulders to bring it home.
Trevor Swartz with some patience, dropping it back to Grant Lillard.
With more patience, Grant Lillard has grown into this spot in the center back role. With the ball at his feet, you know he's naturally going to earn some points because he's athletic and he's tall, but you want to see a big man handle the ball at his feet. And the distribution out of the back from him and the poise over the ball has increased astronomically since he arrived on campus for Indiana.
There's Brian Hale, senior.
Yeah, 60-plus appearances for Brian in a Badger uniform. Tremendous senior campaign as well now as he enjoys his last year in Madison.
What a throw-in to Mueller. That was Hale with the throw-in. Lillard pushing Mueller. I don't think that's going to make John Trask too happy, but no whistle. Mueller can't believe it.
Mueller is very, very smart, and these players know that Grant Lillard has been enticed into contact throughout the course of the season. That's how he earned the red card you talked about against Maryland. And the opportunity for Mueller in that sequence to maybe invite some contact, maybe get a call atop the box has come and gone, but egging the big center back into contact, I don't know that Lillard's going to take the bait all that much here anymore. I think he learned his lesson early on in the season.
On the touch, on the touch.
Too long. It was Mueller who scored the third and final goal in that 3-0 win over the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten quarterfinals just a week ago. Austin Poncho, number 12 for Indiana. And here's Schilling. We played 15, no score.
One of the things I've really enjoyed about Wisconsin this year, and I don't know if it's confidence or if it's coaching or if it's just personnel, but they really take care of the ball so much better than they have, it seems, at times in years past.
Great job of climbing the ladder there by Sam Brotherton. What a story he is. Now playing with the New Zealand full national team. Lillard, who with the same jersey as Brotherton, number 5. Talking about the goalkeepers, but we saw Alex Cronale for Maryland, the center backs, Brotherton, Wisconsin, Lillard, Indiana. Formidable to say the least. That's Lillard chesting it down, keeping it alive. Poncho had it for a moment, now Fives.
Corner kick opportunity for Indiana. They too can be creative and dangerous on corner kicks. Brotherton with the captain's armband. This is one of the benefits of having a center back who is strong both in performance on the field and leadership as well. You make him a captain, he's got all the guys in front of him except the goalkeeper, and he can really direct traffic and call guys out as they need to be called out.
Corner kick for the Hoosiers. Schilling. Talked about his height, one of the smaller goalkeepers you're going to see, able to punch it away, but it'll be another corner kick other side for Indiana.
Used to be a handball and volleyball player, so real comfortable with those balls out of the air.
Swartz now with the left foot, going far post, and the big man right there, Mel. You're thinking about Lillard, and pushing forward there is Tim Mel with the opportunity just over the crossbar.
Good work by Timmy Mel to get up and over. Defenders in a bad position there. And he'll get up and over that just a hair more next time around and create havoc for Phil Schilling in the Badgers defense.
So 3 shots so far for Indiana, none for the Wisconsin Badgers. And there's Gutman, second team all Big Ten at left back, Gutman. Swartz with the winner against Tim Lenahan's Northwestern Wildcats in overtime.
Phil Fives inviting contact, thought he'd maybe earn a whistle there. Instead,
Wisconsin, free kick.
Going the other way in the subsequent tussle for possession. He's been good, an Akron transfer for Indiana. Regular starter this year, 19 starts last year. A dual threat, as Coach Todd Yeagley calls him, one of the hardest working players on both sides of the ball in the midfield.
Here's Lillard playing out of the back to Mel.
Well, we talked about the weather here in Fishers. The Indiana Hoosiers are playing with about a 15-mile-an-hour gust at their backs. And so that's going to be something that they'll have to be aware of for the next 26 minutes. Serve a ball long and up in the air, it's going to catch that energy from behind and carry a little bit more.
Throw in for the Hoosiers, Poncho. And another corner kick. You can hear it, well done, Ponch. It'll be a corner kick, Indiana, as Brotherton knocks it out of bounds. Third corner kick for the Hoosiers.
Number 10, Tanner Thompson.
Looking for Timmy Mel again. Flicked out of bounds by Wisconsin. And make no mistake, the first 20 minutes of this game, with 3 corners, 3 shots to none for Wisconsin, the number 2 seed, and just 1 loss, Indiana Hoosiers, with the majority of the play. Swartz with the throw-in. Looking for Lillard, and Lillard with the foul.
Idea there is that Lillard gets to that ball and slips it to the far post off his head, but Tommy Barlow with good defense, standing in front of the big defender and preventing him from getting any sort of solid touch on the ball.
Schilling bombs it high. It's Barlow who won that first ball. Second ball, here comes Wisconsin. That's key for John Trask and the Badgers. Better work now for Wisconsin. As Guitar, who has got to fill the shoes of Mike Catalano. Second team all Big Ten Catalano, who I thought was fantastic in that win over Northwestern with the game winner, but a 2-game suspension because of a red card against Ohio State in the regular season. And keep in mind, Wisconsin not playing with Catalano, who sits behind that front line, in front of that back line, and does a lot of great work. But Guitar, the freshman, one of the better freshmen in the Big Ten, will take his role. Here's Segbers. Segbers, just straight speed. Looking for Barlow. Cleaned up neatly by Phil Fives. Keith Tiemeyer, who actually was part of Todd Yeagley's staff that one year, stays with John Trask, those same ties, as he is connected as well to the Indiana program. His son Zach has a birthday today, and his daughter Marley, whose birthday this week, they're having a birthday party watching Indiana, Wisconsin. Are you kidding me? That's how they're celebrating, as we say happy birthday to both of the Tiemeyer kids who continue to help connect the dots between Indiana and Wisconsin, Chris.
Yeah, that's just outstanding. I've worked several camps with Keith Tiemeyer. Great sense of humor, but a terrific soccer mind. When he's not joking around, the guy can break a game down. It's almost like he's on a different level with the way he interprets the game.
He does have a quick humor when he's not joking around, which is 99% of the time, but in a good way with an eye on the ball, and he's a key part of Wisconsin's success. There's Thompson. This is, anytime Thompson has those hands on the hips, backs it up, and thinking about shooting, you could be looking at a potential goal. Thompson's got 8 on the season. At the moment, 4 in the wall for Philip Schilling. Thompson tells everybody to back off. Here he comes, lofted, and Schilling, no problem for him.
Good work from Tanner Thompson. Absolutely wanted on frame and challenged the goalkeeper. He probably wants to go a little more near post, but Schilling had that covered. Great strike from Thompson.
He's so acrobatic, though, Schilling. His feet are always moving. He took 2 steps back inside the goal. Yes, he kept the ball on the other side of the line, but, man, he just moves all the time. Even the easier plays, he's got 2 saves already. Squared to Swartz. Swartz trying to cut it back, looking for Thompson. Barlow doesn't have the pinball machine numbers this year, but John Trask cannot say enough good things about the role number 11 has played. He's on it now.
Oh, Indiana squeezing the 2 attacking players with 4 defenders there. The assets of an attacking team are time and space. And the asset Wisconsin had with time and space there depleted significantly because of Indiana's presence. And now Indiana faces the same thing with Wisconsin. Look how the red shirts squeeze the field. Segber's nice work.
Taking it away from Lillard. Dropped quickly there by Mitch Guitar. Back to Segbers. Dropping it over the top. And there's our first real good look at the speed away from the goal from Christian Lamelli, the senior. Well, you talk about a guy who just kept showing up, going to work, being a good teammate, and then 5 games ago, Todd Yeagley gives him the call, and guess what? He's allowed only 1 single goal in those 4 games.
Brian Masonoff compares him to John Bush, with whom Brian played several years with Columbus Crew SC. Todd Yeagley agrees as well. Smaller guy, of course, in stature. He's only 5'9", 135 pounds, so if it gets too windy out here, you may have to anchor him down.
It'll fall, top, bounce, still loose. Looking for a handball, no whistle. Hale stays with it. On the turn again, kept alive there by Koenig. And here's Leibold. Leibold, another one of those Germans, and with authority, Lamelli punches it out.
Lamelli gets knocked just a bit there, had to go up over the head of the attacking player, his face he's referencing. Hopefully he's okay. Lamelli was actually a transfer from IUPUI, and last year didn't play a minute until the Big Ten men's soccer semifinal in Columbus, Ohio. The team goes to penalty kicks against their opponent, and here's the situation where Lamelli gets it in the face. Yikes.
Against Maryland.
And it was against Maryland, right, against Maryland. Well, there's head athletic trainer Joe Lucan, who's no doubt going through the protocol necessary at this point.
Are you in good hands?
And what's interesting about that shootout is that as they're going to penalty kicks, they call on Lamelli to replace Colin Webb. Lamelli is ready to take a redshirt season so that he can come back and play a junior and senior year. And Lamelli says whatever it'll take to help win a championship. Lamelli came in for the shootout, and of course the rest is history. Maryland beat them and moved on. That's Colin Webb getting his boots ready just in case Christian Lamelli feels like he can't continue. Well, the same story as this year. You know, they're wondering whether Colin Webb can finish the season or not. Lamelli 4 games ago says, hey, if you want to put me in, I'm ready to go. He's such a competitor. And he's enjoyed great success in this last 4-game run, now 5th game for Lamelli.
Certainly heartbreak, though, for Colin Webb, who burst onto the scene in that 2013 Big Ten tournament in Columbus, Ohio. Coming off that national championship, Indiana had so much talent, but they just couldn't put it together. Had a losing record coming into the tournament, and they bring in Webb, who turned 18 when they won that championship game over Michigan State, and that kept their streak alive, making it to the NCAA tournament. Played his sophomore year pretty much every game. You talked about last year, every game but that semifinal, and here now he'll wrap up his career at Indiana on the bench. And
well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it may not necessarily be the case, right? They've got more games than that. I mean, he could be called upon to come back out again. We've been told that Todd Yeagley says that they're close in competition. It wasn't so much that he lost the position, but Lamelli actually won the position back.
Gutman will drop it long to Ballard. Ballard. Another corner kick for Indiana, and it's Thompson. 4th corner for Indiana.
On the kick for the Hoosiers, number 10, Tanner Thompson.
You gotta get this away! Come on, right on your toes! Coming to us. On your toes!
Thompson with the corner. Lillard's in there. Bounces over him, out of bounds, and no danger for Schilling and the Badgers. There's Ballard.
How many different services have we seen bounce to that far posting and no one's there? As a defending team, you don't want the ball bouncing inside the 6.
Boy, Ballard was actually open. He went hands to the face. All he's got to do is get that little flick on it. And he may have found the back of the net by Schilling. He did not like that kick. There's Leibel doing the work in the midfield. You don't say his name a ton. He's not super flashy, but John Trask says he does all the right things for the Badgers.
Well, he cleans up a lot of messes in that midfield and then gets the ball to the feet of the players who are going forward. Careful to keep the defensive back line connected with the midfielders.
Timmy, beware! Timmy, beware!
Gutman keeps it on the ground. Quickly for Indiana. Thompson on the spin. So hard to get the ball away from number 10. Now Billy McConnell. Showing for McConnell is Buckmaster. Off the bench for Todd Yeagley. Phil Fives.
No turn!
Thompson will leave it for Swartz. Deflected, they want a handball, deflected again, sent back. Looking for a handball, player down. They're gonna call a foul, I believe. Swartz is down, blood. The faces, boy, all kinds of blood for Swartz. May have been his own guy that he ran into.
This is tough. Trevor Swartz has come on. He's got a couple of game winners, Dean. 5 goals, 3 assists. Has done well to earn himself a starting spot in the midfield for Indiana. And he'll definitely have to leave, if just temporarily. Hopefully he's okay.
Brett, 15 minutes. Brett, 15 minutes and we dealt with this shit. This is fucking a joke.
So now the Hoosiers going to bring on some. Let's see what happened here.
On your toes, okay?
So Phil Fives works his way across, ball inside to Thompson.
Ryan, stay alert, number 10.
Oh, and it was in the head of the
17,
Wisconsin
Jeremiah
defender,
Gouillard.
Trevor Swartz. At that point, there was an argument for a possible handball call, but it results now in a corner kick for Indiana.
On the corner for the Hoosiers, number 14, Phil Fives.
Fifth corner for Indiana. You can hear the PA announcer here at Grand Park, Westfield,
Also in the game
Indiana,
for the
20
Hoosiers,
miles
number
outside of
11,
Indianapolis,
Corey
saying
Thomas.
Phil Fives will take the corner. And coming in for Indiana, Corey Thomas, the red shirt sophomore.
Ender, step left, step left.
15 minutes remaining and change here in the first. Fives with that left foot. Headed out near post by Wisconsin. Set right back into the mixer. Cleared again by Brotherton. Still loose. Kept alive by Indiana. Mcconnell trying to get a piece of it. Pushed forward there by Gouillard, wearing number 17, and into the game for Todd Yeagley. Pushing forward now, Andrew Gutman. Driven back, far post, looking for a white jersey. Barlow had come all the way back in support. Try to keep an eye on Grant Lillard. Too long, and another goal kick for Philip Schilling and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's done a really nice job of making sure that Andrew Gutman does not have entry into the attacking third on the dribble. He's been stuck outside on the flank. In that situation, had to drop it to Gouillard for the service across. That service was important because Grant Lillard on the recycled corner kick was still up top looking for service in the air to finish.
Frankie Moore pushes it to Mcconnell. Thomas had it for a moment. Thompson, far side, still loose. Thomas with the shot, deflected by Wisconsin, as Indiana all over the Wisconsin goal at the moment. Buckmaster was also involved. McConnell sent back in, looking for Gouillard, too strong.
This is a good sequence for Indiana, but still coming up empty in terms of service. Thompson splitting the defenders in that one-time pass back. Again, Wisconsin's defenders really doing a nice job of closing down Indiana inside the box.
It was Thomas with the shot, but Brotherton, as well as midfielder Mitch Guitar, 5 and 6, both getting their legs stuck out to stop the opportunity from Thomas off the bench for Todd Yeagley. Here comes Gutman, getting more active at that left back position. He'll send it forward and he'll join in. Thompson now dropping it, looking for Fives. Sent out of bounds there by Alon Koenig.
Let it go! Shoot out!
Held up. Fives was held up that time by Koenig.
You hear the direction to release. That's defenders talking to one another as the ball is shifting from one place to another. The players are shifting or they're staying with the runner. There's been a lot of communication from the Wisconsin defensive as they've dealt with Todd Yeagley's Hoosiers, and their ability to change the point of attack so quickly on the ground and create opportunities.
Battle in the midfield. Thomas in combination with Gouillard, taken away though by Wisconsin's Brian Hale. Barlow to Guitar. Flag is up. And will come back to Indiana. These two teams met in October, went 110 minutes, nobody able to score. Got 11 minutes and change left here in the first, and still zeros.
Wisconsin, I think, is operating under the position that they have got to survive this wind-driven first half of play, get to the locker room, and then come out with the wind at their backs.
O'Neal. Mueller, excellent defending by Mcconnell. Step for step. Hale sends it too long.
Oh, this is a chance for Wisconsin to keep Indiana pinned in.
Thompson had it for a moment, lost it.
Feeling Schilling just wants to knock it around out there outside the box.
Mel. Ballard's work right there. He didn't win it, didn't even touch it, but his work led to the second ball being won by Indiana, third one back to Wisconsin. Now McConnell pushing forward, neatly trapped there by Thomas. He was getting more and more time as the season goes on for Todd Yeagley. Coach Yeagley finding his rotation. Phil Fives with his right foot. That's trouble. And it'll go out of bounds back to Philip Schilling, who's had almost double-digit goal kicks already.
Yeah, Indiana is dealing with a Wisconsin defense that has been very efficient when it comes to dropping and absorbing the pressure, so far anyway. The Hoosiers are going to have to become extra creative in the second half to find those gaps where they can get some solid looks at goal. Sam Brotherton doing a great job defensively back there.
The Maryland Terrapins are already in the championship game. 2-1 winners over Michigan State. Semifinal number 1. Top 4 seeds advancing with quarterfinal victories last weekend. Timmy Mel into space, looking for Gutyar. Schilling's going to be tired.
Coach John Trask saw Phil Schilling at a showcase. Loved him from the get-go. At times, this could be trouble. At times has had to encourage him to stay a little more closer to home in his box as he tends to extend the field a bit, step out of his box, but he's comfortable with the ball at his feet, and that's a big plus.
Turnover at midfield, Wisconsin. We saw their transition play against Northwestern here on the Big Ten Network. Wanted it in midfield. The speed of Segbers able to explode. Mueller able to get a touch. Of course, Catalano not into the game. That's key. Catalano out with that 2-game suspension for that red card against Ohio State in the regular season.
Yeah, he's got 4 goals and 2 assists. And as John Trask said in our call this week, I hope he's got a little more season left in him. Wisconsin advances Sunday, then he'll have his opportunity to help the team.
Second team all Big Ten is Catalano, having that kind of season. Part of that great junior class. As John Trask calling this team a 2-year ring of terror, this year and next year. If everybody stays put, you think about Wisconsin coming into this one with 11-3-3 record. I mean, everybody stays around next year. Just one senior starting for John Trask. The Badgers, you got to figure they'll get some recognition before they even roll the first ball out, which will be key as you build your campaign. But right now they still have business to do in Wisconsin.
And JT said this is not a team that anyone wants to play in the NCAA tournament.
Set back across in the shot. And Lamelli gets low. He was guarding that near post. Mueller trying to stretch it to the far post. And Lamelli getting low with that right paw.
Good ball from Segbers, worked the ball back outside. Mueller does a really nice job of locking and loading. Actually saw him score a goal like that against Northwestern from a very far angle. He does a really nice job of picking his spots when he's at an angle to the goal.
7 goals and 10 assists, Chris Doran, for Christopher Mueller, the junior from Schaumburg, Illinois. I think about Schaumburg, Illinois, and I immediately think Ken and Steve Snow for the Indiana Hoosiers, 2 of the all-time greats from Schaumburg.
You were with the U.S. national team when Steve was playing, right?
The Olympic team.
The Olympic team.
Steve Snow scored a goal in every Olympic qualifier, one of the greatest goal scorers to ever wear a USA uniform. Of course, Ken Snow, his brother, a phenomenal player for Indiana. Steve, a little bit more reckless, went professionally in Belgium, but both players playing for Indiana from Schaumburg. Part of that long history of phenomenal players recruited by the Godfather Jerry Yeagley, Hall of Famer, NSCAA Honor Award winner. And truly one of the nicest gentlemen you'll ever meet in or out of the game.
Speaking of veterans of the game, let's go ahead and wish our veterans a happy Veterans Day. Those of you who have retired from service and those of you who are protecting our country, we thank you for that, including my father and my father-in-law as well, both retired veterans.
In the game for the Badgers, number 19, Isaac.
The beautiful Grand Park, 30-plus fields, that complex with 3 full-size indoor fields. This championship stadium, a field that has not been played on for over 3 months. And boy, is it pristine. As we said in the first game, you could eat a nice little dinner off this surface, and it looks fantastic.
Except for the spot where Trevor Swartz went down with the bloody eyebrow.
We'll move out of that area. Here's Segbers. Can do a lot with a little with his speed. Todd Yeagley, head coach of the 2012 National Championship team.
Well, we know Wisconsin's going to go to the locker room knowing they should have had a little more of this first half of play. And they're going to come out, as they have throughout the course of the season, come out with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, I'm sure.
Gutman to Moore.
Dean, you see how Gutman has really been held in check defensively by Wisconsin. Not able to make the runs he typically makes getting forward for Indiana. And if Indiana's not getting the whip, then that means that guys like Phil Fives and Tanner Thompson are going to have to start providing some of that width, which means you need numbers in the middle to help finish a play.
Earning the foul was Thomas. There's Gutman. Boy, from the very first time we saw him running up and down that left flank for Indiana a year ago, we knew he was special. The same hometown, same high school as Grant Lillard, who he plays next to. Free kick opportunity driven in, flicked high. Far post, loose, down, Fives with his right foot, and cleared out by Wisconsin. Timmy Mell, soft right foot, looking for Thomas, sent out by Brotherton, the New Zealand full international. Fives, bottom of his foot, kept alive. Mcconnell squares it neatly. Moore with the shot, and you rarely see that happen, but Frankie Moore in good position to dial one up.
The product of the Chicago Magic PSG Academy, does a really nice job here of settling with his first touch and loading up with his second touch. Certainly wants to be on frame with that threat.
Yeah, Moore, the sophomore, has got 1 assist, no goals. So rarely do you see him even with an opportunity to take a shot. He's only got 11 shots in his career coming into this one, now 12. Wisconsin, they can pounce on you though. But right now, I think the scoreline's 0, a little bit more possession. I think even John Trask would tell us to the team in white, that's the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I do think Wisconsin will probably feel or share in the locker room that they should have had a little bit more of this first half of play.
Still time left as Segbers drops it over. Looking for Barlow was O'Neal, wearing number 4, and O'Neal's back on it. Koenig looked like he was fouled. They'll say no, and now Indiana with some time. They put together passes. Gutjahr, number 17, in there with Buckmaster. Thompson, left or right, doesn't matter, punches it through. And cleared out by Wisconsin. So we're 20 seconds from headed to the half, still at 0s.
Foul called against Indiana.
A bit of a dangerous play here
9, 8,
as
7,
Gutjahr looks to turn,
6,
has a defender on his back, and the first half comes to a close.
2, 1.
No score after 45. Indiana with 9 shots to just 2 for Wisconsin. And Indiana with 5 corners. The Badgers have none, but it doesn't matter. It's goose eggs everywhere.
Yeah, the Hoosiers certainly want to get themselves in a position to pay off the effort that they've put into the attacking third and the possession that they've enjoyed. Wisconsin, on the other hand, I think comes out in the second half with a chip on their shoulder, knowing they should have had something more in the way of possession in this first half of play, and knowing that they can compete against the Indiana Hoosiers.
The ties that bind these two teams endless. Todd Yeagley, the top man for Indiana. John Trask, who played at Indiana, leading the Badgers. And after 45 minutes of play, no score between the Hoosiers and the Badgers on the Big Ten Network. A little bit of wind, kind of cool, but beautiful day here in Westfield, Indiana, Grand Park. These two teams come in red hot, and they're the focus of our State Farm State of Success. Both teams on very successful winning streaks.
Yeah, they've done very well. You see the winning streaks on the screen. No losses in the last 5 for Wisconsin, and for Indiana, it's been the last 7. Both teams only losing once since September 23rd. Pretty incredible stuff.
It's worth mentioning the top 4 teams here, the teams that have advanced to the semifinals, Maryland and Michigan State, and these two teams only have 8 losses combined. All 4 teams, throw them together, and 5 of them have come in Big Ten play. Pretty remarkable. Indiana has lost just 1 time this entire season, and that, of course, to Coach Clark and Notre Dame. Just a big-time season for Indiana. Probably not getting enough credit for their work this year. I mean, you go the entire season, you only lose 1 game. That's quality.
They've spent a lot of time in the top 10, but, you know, the RPI is something that the coaches, of course, pay a lot of attention to as well. And Indiana maybe not, I think I want to be honest with Tanner Thompson. Tanner Thompson is extraordinarily special and important to this team, Dean, but he's not getting the headlines that a Gordon Wild, for example, might get.
That RPI is pressure on Philip Schilling. That is, boy, look at that, 43 for Wisconsin. There's just something amok about that, I think, because Wisconsin is a team, as John Trask has said, that he thinks he can be in Houston. He thinks that this team can be there as part of the College Cup. Here's Thompson trying to make a difference right off the bat. Takes the shot and not on frame and out of bounds. Indiana in a comfortable position with that 17 RPI. And there's the 2-time Big Ten Midfielder of the Year, Tanner Thompson.
And you talk about the RPI, Dean. Of these 4 teams that we see this weekend, it's probably Wisconsin that really needs a win more than any of the other teams. Obviously, Maryland is number 1 in the country, doesn't necessarily need to win the tournament on Sunday, but they want to. Indiana in the same position. Michigan State in the big dance at the end of the season. But Wisconsin's probably the team that really needs this win.
A win could make a difference. Sent out of there as Indiana comes right back out where it started in the first half, out shooting Wisconsin 9-2. Remember those 5 corners for the Hoosiers, none for Wisconsin. Of course, Wisconsin now with the wind behind them, though, and that could make a difference. Chris Doran thinks it will. Here's Hoosiers, though, along the end line. I think Schilling may have had a kick save there. I'm not totally sure, but nonetheless, Indiana will resettle after the clearance from Wisconsin.
Right now, Austin Panchaw getting a little bit too much time over there on that right flank inside the box. Here he is again on the ball.
So Pancho now with his left. It'll fall. Fives is there. It's still loose. Ballard looked like he was going to try to shoot it. And finally, they'll clear it. Referee does a good job keeping the whistle silent. Indiana coming right back out the way they finished the first half. A little bit of a shove right there on fives inside the box.
Opportunity a moment ago. Pancho, look at the time he's got inside the 18, and then the cut across the defender again with that kick save you mentioned. And then yet again inside the 18. They just haven't seen enough of him up close. Wisconsin's got to come up with an answer there.
Segbers had a touch on it. And now a throw in for IU. There's Gutman, the left back, long throw. It'll fall neatly to Gutyar. Now Fives. Fives on his left where he wants it, but one too many touches. And Wisconsin, let's see what they can do. Breaking out of trouble. Mueller kind of all alone right now. That lone Soldiers. He'll get it to Segbers. Segbers and Barlow, that combination, when they get running, it is dangerous. Barlow's on the right side, and this one sent way too long, too strong. As they forgot they had the win, Mitch Guitar needs to do better. Keep that one on the ground, perhaps.
And you can see how the two front runners for Wisconsin have drifted to that side, and that's because Andrew Gutman had pushed way forward in the attack for Indiana. Wisconsin with a good look at quick transition down the weak side for Indiana, not able to get it together.
Mate Radonjic is into the game, and John Trask said we would see him. And here's a player who started quite a bit a couple years ago, the senior, number 12, and he's tough. And he's on it right now. 12 is on it, so John Trask maybe trying to add a little toughness in.
Foul
Let's
call
see if there's
against
a card
Wisconsin.
here.
It'll be a free kick for Indiana.
Koenig with the wave off's got to be careful. I like the addition of Radonjic. I mean, he is hard, not afraid to get stuck in.
Transfer out of Illinois Central College. His sophomore year comes to Madison. He's a Croatian by birth, and he does bring that element of toughness to the midfield for Wisconsin.
Thompson still loose. Segbers. Mueller, what a touch. Segbers, okay, here comes Segbers. Mueller's on the right side, Barlow's in front. It'll get away from Barlow, cleaned up though by Lamelli at the top of the 18, and here comes the Wisconsin Badgers.
Great transition, opportunity, super from Mueller as he works the ball around the pressure from Thompson and Segbers. We know how dangerous he is in the open field. Great look as he picks his head up and finds Barlow on the run. The opportunity defensively to break through the Indiana defense there, but broken up by Mel.
Mel and Lamelli, both of them, as Lamelli outside of the 18 with Mel spinning, trying to keep Barlow away from the ball. As Mueller, Segbers, Barlow, how many times have we said those three players together this year? Frankie Moore, Fives. Taken away. Just pushing forward there was Koenig, and here's Barlow. Barlow's got Koenig on his right. Segbers back into play as he was out of bounds for just a little bit. Number 7, bottom of our screen, but once again, Indiana able to handle that pressure. Over the top, one bounce, and Chris, we've now gone over 160 minutes. 160 minutes these two teams have gone at it, and none of them have been able to score a goal.
Well, it speaks in part, Dean, to the amount of emphasis defensively these coaches place on preparing their teams, and then again, how similar they are in attack. They may be different, well, they certainly are different in terms of the various tools that each player brings to the game. But both coaches acknowledge that these two teams in attack look very similar to one another.
Flag stays down. Mueller with the turn. He wanted to just cut it back one more time, couldn't do it. Billy Mcconnell was there to save the day. The right back for the Indiana Hoosiers. Still kept alive. Guitar, give and go with Segbers. Bounces back to Segbers. Mueller behind him. Segbers keeping possession. Thought about heading to the corner. He'll drop it back to Koenig. Koenig with that right foot into the 18. And then it'll bounce out. Too long, too strong for Isaac Schlenker. As Schlenker also off the bench. As John Trask bringing players off the bench here to start the second half. And it's working.
Game getting a little stretched out now, Dean.
Gutman, ball got away from him, or Gutman is in. Gutman, you know he wants it back on that left foot. Here's Fives, deflected, and boy, how about the long ball coming the other way now?
Knocking it back and forth in the back. Phil Schilling finally lays it off to his defense. Big ball forward, and the touch by Mueller right at his feet. He's 20 yards from goal, and he takes probably one too many touches. It gives Indiana's defense a chance to clean things up.
You go with Chris. No awareness. On your toes!
Corner kick, Indiana. Looks like that was mishit, a rare mistake from Thompson. Gutjahr to Fives. Call the foul on Fives. You can hear the no way coming from the Hoosiers.
Free kick upcoming for Wisconsin.
And question marks there because the attacking player is in possession of the ball, and when the defensive player invites contact, typically that call isn't even made. Referee saw something he didn't like.
Lamelli just making sure as it's played back. Second ball. We asked John Trask his keys to beating Indiana, a team that he knows so well, perhaps as well as anybody out there. More the same from the first game when they outshot Indiana 6-8. That's not happening. Dictate tempo and possession. That's not happening. And then steady in the back, that is happening as they handle the pressure.
Yeah, they've done really well to bend, not break. They've got good numbers behind the ball. That's strong, and they're actually doing quite well in 1v1 challenges, especially these situations where there is no possession. They look to win the ball, bring it down, and put it on the carpet and play.
Todd Yeagley's keys, when we talk to him, mix up the offensive attack, find the gaps in the midfield, and look for open seams. That is happening. And we've seen that quite a bit. They do say they want an eye on Mueller, know that they like to play it up and run underneath. They've kept an eye for the most part on Mueller. He had that opportunity moments ago that he left wanting. Looks like he should have shot it. Barlow back across. Mueller is in. Mueller is in, and it's 1-0 Wisconsin. Just as I say it, keep an eye on Mueller. He scores.
Well, this started with a defensive error. Indiana coming out of the back in possession, not really under pressure, but I think the pass goes away from the Indiana. It's Grant Lillard. He cuts this ball, he plays it on the turf. He's trying to find the pass inside to Moore, not able to make it happen. Wisconsin takes over possession right underneath the 18. And Barlow with a big ball in, and Mueller's able to finish. Yeah, that's a mental error and a tactical error on the part of Indiana, and Wisconsin makes Indiana pay for it.
Just telling you, Todd Yeagley's keys to try to keep an eye on that man, a first-team All-Big Tenner with 8 goals and 10 assists. So he gets the glory, but remember, it was Barlow putting the pressure back there on Lillard. Segbers with the steal, got it back to Barlow, sent it in, and it's 1-0. Did we mention those three in combination?
You did. You did, and you previewed it about 2 minutes ago, that we would go ahead and mention them in combination.
Indiana on the spin. Thompson. Now let's see what Indiana has. Finally, after no score in double overtime during the regular season, 45 minutes, then another 10, we have a goal score here and a matchup between Wisconsin and Indiana. And Gutman was looking to make it 1-1 with a beautiful service with that left foot, shot from distance. And Schilling is there, and Schilling immediately yelling at his defense. Frankie Moore with another shot.
He ended the first half with a shot on goal. He had to get over it. Does a really nice job in this sequence as the ball's cleared. Second chance opportunity coming for Frankie Moore on the volley, and he keeps it down under the post. The crossbar, I beg your pardon. Boy, that ball's dropping quick, and Phil Schilling up with the save.
Third save now for Mr. Schilling. Disappointed he didn't make the first or second team. And now Wisconsin on the season. When they score first, they're 11 wins and 2 ties. Here's Fives. Fives with that left foot, looking far post. Making that run was Pancho. Schilling in the back.
This is where Schilling, comfortable with the ball at his feet, becomes such an asset. Look at this. Indiana's got to come down, and they've got to apply pressure. You stretch Indiana out, then you go up over the top.
Barlow with the freedom to run wherever he needs to. And it's Barlow on it now. Barlow with that pressure on the talented Lillard. Lillard with a bad pass, picked off by Segbers. Now Barlow again. Wisconsin just looking clean right now. The kind of team that John Trask said has been manhandling teams. Now we're seeing it here.
Well, they surprisingly stepped up, and Lillard with a mistake. You don't get at this level too many situations like that. And yes, you do have to make the opponent pay when they make an error like that. Wisconsin so confident in working together to pay off that opportunity.
Frankie Moore keeps it on the ground. Sent in by Fives and right back out. Gutman spinning with it. Gutjahr back to Gutman. Gutman with the left foot.
You start to see now Indiana trailing Wisconsin, how involved Gutman's getting. And I think a real important answer to the way Wisconsin responds to, or the way Indiana responds to Wisconsin's goal is going to be telling for Todd Yeagley and the coaching staff.
Phil Fives. Thompson.
Become very much a left-sided team here since the goal was scored.
Rose, go! Closer!
Fives again. Good ball. One bounce. No white jerseys there, though. It'll be cleaned up by Billy Mcconnell. It's now Indiana with plenty of time sending players forward. Here's Mcconnell with that right foot back across far post. Looking for Fives and deflected away.
Good numbers back for Wisconsin. A little flat as Segbers comes back deep to help out on the back post. Indiana with one more body in there, and maybe they've got a rebound. Maybe they've got, off that cleared ball, a second chance.
Sasho Swarovski and the Maryland Terrapins, the #1 team in the country, are already in Championship Sunday, featured here on the Big Ten Network at 2 o'clock. Maryland undefeated. What a game they had back on October 14th at Ludwig Field in front of the Crew. Another one of those 3-2 overtime thrillers. This one, of course, won by the undefeated Maryland Terrapins. In that game, Sam Brotherton, the defender from New Zealand, scored, and Segbers scored. Mueller had 2 assists.
Dean, right now when Wisconsin gets the ball, they are building out of the back and keeping the field nice and big. Defensively, you have got to keep the field tight, and so it's
Foul
causing
call
some
against
problems
Wisconsin.
for Indiana.
Free kick coming up for the Hoosiers.
When Wisconsin loses possession, however, it's just the opposite. Indiana, or Wisconsin, bringing the numbers into tight space. Look at all the red jerseys. 4v1 in that sequence there.
Gutman still was able to find Ballard, though, but stood up neatly by Koenig. Zalon Koenig, the redshirt freshman from Los Angeles. And here comes Ballard. This could be Ballard time. The redshirt senior spark plug for the Hoosiers. Second team, all Big Ten. It'll fall to Thompson. And Thompson just kind of leaning back, not able to do much, and he was open.
Tanner Thompson, 8 goals, 2 assists. He's the team's leading goal scorer. Don't forget Trevor Swartz, the team's second leading goal scorer, was taken off the field in the first half with a bloody brow. But Rich Ballard has been terrific through this course of the season. He does a nice job of penetrating on the dribble. This cross ball to Thompson, he's looking to finish first touch. You can certainly understand why. He's always attracting attention. He attracts attention before he puts the game jersey on every game day. But he's going to attract attention when he's inside the 18 and has possession of the ball. He's got to get rid of that quickly. You understand why he takes that first touch.
The legacy of the Thompson family runs deep at Indiana. Of course, his father won a couple national championships. Here's a shot and deflected away. And Tommy as well. There's Ballard. Was an outstanding player at Indiana.
He was. Greg Thompson with the captain's armband in the 82 and 83 national championships. Had the chance to watch him play. And of course, Tanner's older brother won with Stanford last year, won the national championship.
Pretty sure he's got a sister that's playing as well. Pretty good soccer family with yet another solid understatement. That's Wisconsin going the other way. Mueller. It's not the only number 10 worth talking about. It's Christopher Mueller. What a season he's had. 8 goals and 10 assists for the junior. Part of this 2-year ring of terror that John Trask keeps telling us about. This junior class, as you look at it throughout the field, one of the best in the country.
Rashad Hyacinth in the match now for Indiana. He receives the ball with his back to goal, invites the contact, call made. Rashad was a guy that was brought in on transfer last year, or this season I should say. Hopes were that he would perhaps become that true front runner, that true goal scorer up top. He's got a lot of great tools, he really does, but working through the Big Ten traffic, the non-conference schedule that's always so tough when you're an Indiana Hoosier, his skills were tested, and so some changes had to be experimented with.
He'd like to get one right here and tie it for Indiana. They'll go far post. Lillard's there, too far. He'll go ahead and catch it, and that'll cause some frustration for the Indiana Hoosiers. And Lillard will get it set for Mr. Schilling.
Yep, Lillard, the target man. He certainly, if he doesn't get that ball to goal, he pops it back into the mixer from the goal line.
Make him run. Okay. Kick it. Get out. Right side in.
I'll tell you what, one of the reasons why Phil Schilling is also really important to Wisconsin and what John Trask was trying to accomplish, and that is that he's a big believer in playing the ball out of the back on the ground. And he does not like it when he has to introduce that concept to players who are coming in from various clubs who are accustomed instead to chasing the ball after giant service down the field, be it a punt or a drop kick or what have you. He wants the ball on the ground, and he wants everyone on the field to be comfortable with playing that ball in possession no matter where it is on the turf. So when you've got a guy like Phil Schilling who's comfortable in goal and comfortable with the ball at his feet and can serve as that deep player in possession, you're much better off.
Fives. Now Gutman back to fives. Fives near the end line. Left foot cross looking for Hyacinth. trying to double his goal output on the season, and what a time it would be. Mcconnell now, the right back with Segbers. Marking closely. Mcconnell with his left foot, lofted ball. Hyacinth with a shoulder, it'll fall. Gutman had it for a moment, deflected out of there. Back again and too strong. As I believe Raheem Omar getting some time now, wearing that number 20 jersey. You see him right there at the bottom of your screen as John Trask going a little bit deeper than we expected. The junior from Maple Grove, Minnesota, getting some time.
Phil Schilling on the punt, enjoying the benefits of that 15-mile-an-hour wind. Very quickly putting pressure on the defense of Indiana.
It's 1-0 Wisconsin as they pounced on an opportunity.
Grant Lillard with an ill-advised short pass inside rather than going out and finding his target. Now they've got to chase the ball. Tommy Barlow's going to make it tough on them. Big service in, and that punch through by Chris Mueller creates the one chance off the one error. And Wisconsin enjoying the lead at this point.
Segmers, Mueller, Barlow, Mueller finished, and the first goal scored in 166 minutes in the last two meetings. And Wisconsin on top 1-0 over the Indiana Hoosiers. A lot of soccer left.
No foul, no foul.
Poncho near the end line. Koenig can't get to him. One bounce, still loose through the 18 and too far for Ballard. Hyacinth, high pressure on Schilling. Barlow is John Trask, hands in the air, looking for a whistle there. Segbers goes down hard. They'll let him play right now.
Billy Mcconnell does a nice job with Segbers' pressure to bring that ball out in possession. Gutman.
Poncho. Shoulder for shoulder though, Mitch Guitar. Shot from distance. And Thompson right at Schilling. As Thompson will dial from distance, trying to tie this one.
Poncho does a nice job of drawing the defenders. Thompson by himself puts some sauce on that one. But you're right, he finds Schilling, and Schilling is not challenged much in making that save.
5 shots now for number 10, Tanner Thompson. Make no mistake, right now, John Trask, Keith Tiemeyer, the Wisconsin coaching staff, feels like that clock is moving in quicksand, mud. I mean, it's just not going fast enough for the Badgers, who want more than anything to get that win, a win that could erase any whispers, any doubts on whether they will make the NCAA tournament.
You mentioned the coaching staff. We're talking about Aaron Holbein, who's new in a couple of years. He's got his return to Madison after being an All-American defender. No doubt an important piece to this puzzle of making a team a championship caliber team. The Wisconsin Badgers doing so well defensively this year. Tim Boroff, the volunteer assistant coach as well. And those guys combined have fed off one another and played the strengths to make sure that they get the pieces where they need to be in order to be a successful team down the stretch.
There's the coaching staff, just mentioned by Chris Dorn, and Todd Yeagley's got a pretty good staff too.
Well, he does. He's got his associate head coach in Brian Mazanoff, as you mentioned, dear friends, and beyond that, Kevin Robeson, who was in Florida this week doing some recruiting. Brad Swenby, who works with the goalkeepers. Danny O'Rourke, talked to him a bit this past week as well.
No foul! No foul!
Actually won 2 national championships with Indiana. He went on to enjoy a pro career in Major League Soccer, and now back with his alma mater.
Some concern right there for Todd Yeagley. Plenty of time though. Mountains of time. Delighted to be with you, Grand Park, Westfield, Indiana. Outside of Indianapolis. What a facility. Gutman.
Tell you, Dean, Wisconsin's done a really nice job of shutting out service from Gutman and shutting him down.
Back in the game for the Badgers, number 19.
Coming back in now is Isaac Schlinker, redshirt sophomore from Milwaukee. Segbers will get a break, not for long though. It's hard not to like Mark Segbers. He was involved in that goal, dropped it back outside to Barlow after causing the turnover from Lillard, and just does all the little things. It's a crazy game. Last time these two teams played, Wisconsin outshot Indiana, tied at 0. They went into half, Indiana out shooting Wisconsin 9-2, 5 corner kicks to none. The Hoosiers dominating possession as well, but the Badgers come out, capitalize on a rare mistake. You won't see it, I bet you won't see it again from Grant Lillard, that kind of mistake. And here we are at 1-0. And here is Lillard. Now Brotherton, representing the New Zealand full national team, getting time for New Zealand.
Getting time, and interestingly, he plays alongside Michael Boxall, who's the brother of Nico Boxall, who was a longtime starter center back for Tim Lenahan at the Northwestern Wildcat program. But this is an international window weekend, Dean, and so one question we did not ask John is whether or not Sam got the call to come in, and they declined to allow him to go. I mean, can you imagine being the New Zealand national team and being told by John Trask, you can't have one of your center backs? I've got a tournament this weekend.
John Trask had the ringer off for sure all week. He was not answering that call. As Brotherton, the captain, despite being just a sophomore. What a leader he is. You watch him in practice and the way he talks to his teammates, his coaches, even you and I when we walk out to practice, he's very respectful.
Oh, he's a good one. He's been bragged about by his college coach for a long time. To John's recollection, there was, or probably never has been, an active college player who's been called into the full senior team of their country before.
Still plenty of time. It's still a pretty big deal, though. Wisconsin, the last time they won the Big Ten tournament, folks, was 1995, the same year that Wisconsin won their only national championship. It's been that long. And with a 1-0 lead, they're 15 minutes and change away from playing in a championship game, something else that hasn't happened in forever for Wisconsin. Of course, Indiana, plenty of time to change that, no doubt about it. We're not even close to putting the capper on this one, but just to give you an idea of how long it's been for the team in red, Wisconsin. Meanwhile, Indiana, pretty much they've owned this Big Ten tournament over the years, the last 2 years going to Maryland. And the Hoosiers looking to tie it right here, and Timmy Mel off his head and not on frame. Indiana with 12 Big Ten tournament titles, 31-10-7 coming in. Penn State, Michigan State, and the Ohio State Buckeyes with 3. Maryland, of course, with 2 in 2 seasons. That's pretty good.
Maryland's been exceptional since coming to the Big Ten. But you ask anyone in the ACC, they were exceptional as they were leaving the ACC as well.
The Michigan, Northwestern, and the Badgers with 1 Big Ten tournament title. Now Now, Indiana had to win it in 2013 when the Ohio State Buckeyes hosted the tournament, because coming off that national championship season, something was just missing for the Hoosiers. They had all that talent but weren't quite gelling, and they had to win the Big Ten tournament to get into the NCAA tournament, and they did it. As you take a look at some jersey pulling here. A little bit of tussle there between A.J. Palazzolo into the game now for Indiana, and Alon Koenig for Wisconsin. So Palazzolo is Todd Yeagley looking for any kind of spark. Won by Ballard. Ballard with Hyacinth inside. Ballard, nifty move. And then cleared by Wisconsin. They'll let him play. On it, Palazzolo with the shot. And it's Schilling getting low.
Ironically, Dean, I'm sorry to interrupt. Ironically, A.J. Palazzolo figures into the Indiana plan as a center back at some point down the road, but he's up in an attacking position, up forward, and he's looking for opportunities here with this ball that's free at the top of the 18 through the defender's legs and saved by Schilling. But boy, that's nice and close if you're the Indiana coaching staff.
Palazzolo's only played now in 9 games for Todd Yeagley and the Indiana Hoosiers. Is Todd Yeagley looking for any kind of magic dust. Of course, Palazzolo, when you think about magic dust from St. Louis, boy, they've had a lot of it over the years. The pipeline from St. Louis to the Indiana Hoosiers, simply amazing.
Yeah, it's been a hotbed for recruiting. There's no doubt about it. We were talking to some coaches this week, and they were talking about how Maryland really has, and so too do the ACC teams, that East Coast pretty well sewed up when it comes to recruiting. Bob Warming goes into Philadelphia, goes into Pittsburgh, and he does some recruiting. Tim Lenahan, of course, just walks in as a former New Jersey guy, and he recruits from all over the East Coast.
Danger time right now for Wisconsin. Segbers was trying to clean it up as Lamelli was challenged in that last sequence. Now a foul against Indiana. Segbers back in there, creating danger.
And for the second time today, we're going to see Christian Lamelli trying to shake off an injury. This is a big-time throw in. Indiana knows Wisconsin's dangerous on the throws. Slip head by Barlow in the traffic jam that Rashad Hyacinth runs into, and Andy Gutman and Mark Segbers getting tied up near midfield.
That flick from Barlow on that throw and special fouls dead even. Handball
against Wisconsin.
Whistled there on Isaac Schlenker. So Schlenker, the redshirt sophomore from Milwaukee, has been getting more time as the season rolls on. John Trask said he would play, and he's done it in both halves. Hyacinth.
No foul, no foul.
He'll stay with it.
Right footed.
Ballard.
Go. Release Isaac.
The other way to McConnell.
No foul,
McConnell
no foul. Right footed.
in and out of the 18, end line. He'll take a corner if he can earn it.
Still right footed.
Back to his left. Frankie Moore, can he square it? He can! Palazzolo off the bench and in, and we are tied at 1. Did Hyacinth get a touch as well, but it was Palazzolo in the middle of it.
Well, I think Phil Schilling is complaining that Hyacinth did get a touch on it, and he was offside, if you ask the Wisconsin goalkeeper, and that's why he's appealing to Chen Asuera, the assistant referee. Where was your flag? I think Chen Asuera appeared to be very confident that the no call was the right call. Let's take a look. Palazzolo does a really nice job of getting this ball inside. Frankie Moore.
Hoosier goal scored by number 9.
Yeah, it's Hyacinth. It was Palazzolo on the shot, but make no mistake, it's Hyacinth with the goal. And Chris Doran, you said it. They needed more out of this guy. Came in, touted in a big way the transfer, and now with just his second goal of the season. Look at Todd Yeagley going to his bench, and the 2 players involved in that, A.J. Palazzolo, just his 9th game, and Rashad Hyacinth, the transfer from Belmont. And now we're tied at 1. And Palazzolo may not be done, deflected and corner kick. And the Hoosiers are awake here at Grand Park.
Well, you guys who were not counted on initially in the season pay off Indiana in the postseason. Last week it was Poncho and Trevor Swartz. This week, coming off the bench, Hyacinth gets involved as that first shot by Palazzolo is deflected.
So corner kick for the Hoosiers. Looping ball. Mel's head and out of bounds. And boy, we said it at the 15:30 mark. We were talking about the last time Wisconsin won a Big Ten championship. This game was not even close to being done. And how about Todd Yeagley, though, going not just to his bench, but deep to his bench to get the answer here.
It's kind of special because you see how hard these players train week in and week out, and then they come to the bench, and on game day they end up doing the post-game runs and workouts instead of getting any sort of playing time. When you're sitting on the bench, it's so important to study the game and see what your teammates are doing right, and maybe where you can add a little flair or add a little technical decision here or there that will help make things happen for your squad. And I think it's a real credit to Hyacinth and Palazzolo that they've been able to do that here in the second half.
So the Hoosiers have grabbed this game back and now controlling it. Gutman. Thompson. Back to Gutman. He is in. Cross. Cleared out. Give Guitar credit for helping with that clearance. Keeping it clean. Barlow will drop it. Give and go. Barlow in. Heavy touch, though. It got away from Barlow. Lillard trying to close down the angle, and Barlow would like to have that one back.
Big time 1v1 between two very big players, Barlow and Grant Lillard. And it's too bad that his touch let him down. If he keeps that ball close and then gets in underneath or in between the Indiana goal and the defender, he'll find himself in a really positive position. Now with a goal-scoring touch from Rashad Hyacinth, able to put him on the bench and bring some fresh bodies back out.
How about Danny O'Rourke, one of the first to grab Rashad Hyacinth. Saw Kevin Robeson over there, Brian Mazanoff, the coaching staff for Indiana with a big hug for Hyacinth. Chris Dorn, you called that one. They needed it from him. And Hyacinth. Really do need to give a ton of credit, though, to Palazzolo and even Billy Mcconnell, who was the one that got it inside the 18 to find Palazzolo. And since that Wisconsin goal, how about the response for the Hoosiers? Out shooting Wisconsin 8-0 since the goal. That one little mistake, and the numbers now very much in favor as far as shots to Indiana.
Indiana knows their body of work. They know that they're better than what they showed in that sequence that led to the goal for Wisconsin. Certainly important for them to show better. And they're doing it, 21-3, a lead in shots. Fantastic. Sam Brotherton has to clear that ball out. Just want to clarify that what John Trask told us about Sam Brotherton is that he was the first college player he could remember called into the full national team of his country before he got onto campus. Because Ante Razov did it with the national team in 1995, and then you have to fast forward to Jordan Morris, a guy we all know and love from Stanford, who was called in. But those guys were actually playing for their college team. Brotherton hadn't stepped on campus as a freshman yet.
Excellent nuggets from Chris Doran. We gave you that bulletin board quote from John Trask talking about how they feel like they're a College Cup team. I asked Todd Yeagley the same question on how to describe his team, and he said we are very balanced. We play very much in the moment. And he said, I love that quality about my team, and we can adapt to any situation. Are you kidding me? Adapting with the subs, some players that haven't played very much at all, and he's right on point.
Well, when you talk about playing in the moment, it means that when you're down a goal and you've got 40 minutes to play, that you're not projecting already that you're going to lose the game. You're going to take each one of those minutes that are coming ahead, and you're going to make sure that you make the most of them. It doesn't matter if it's the next minute or the 36th minute from there. You've just got to make sure you're applying yourself accordingly.
Let's take a look at the goal, and where is Hyacinth?
Rashad Hyacinth is planted at the 6 and beyond. He's actually quite possibly in an offside position. If you're a defender for Wisconsin, you're watching that and thinking, how?
Hoosiers trying to win it. Inside the 18 as we're tied at 1.
In defense of the assistant referee, however, that play took place in a very tight spot, Dean. So the ball shot, I mean, everything happened with inside the 18. So the referees, the assistant referee's peripheral vision, no doubt, caught it all as it happened.
Back in the game for the Badgers, number 2, Elon Koenig.
Lon Koenig, you see him back in now for John Trask.
Richard Ballard.
Indiana bringing back in Richard Ballard. Westfield, Indiana, Grand Park, about an hour and a half from Bloomington, 20 miles from Indianapolis. And that means you're going to see a lot of Indiana red. So certainly the Hoosier Nation delighted to see Indiana get back into this one. And why not? Out shooting Wisconsin 21-3, and they're looking for more here.
And despite the proximity, of course, to Bloomington, the objective for the conference was to find a neutral site. And as you and I talked earlier, Damon Rensing among the coaches who said Indianapolis just feels like a Big Ten city. And this seemed like a logical first spot to start with for a neutral site.
They'll be here again next year. It'll fall, bounced high, and a little bit too high there as Gutyar was there.
The deflection, though, and a corner kick for Indiana. The Hoosiers really enjoying the bulk of play here in the second half, save for a couple of quick breaks for Wisconsin.
On the corner for the Hoosiers,
Gutyar, a player you know very well.
Yeah, he graduated from Bloomington North High School early, joined Indiana, and was a starter his freshman year at Indiana. But he's also got plenty of national team experience, too.
Lillard looking for this corner. Lillard as he climbs the ladder. Number 5 pushing forward with the right idea.
Grant Lillard with a couple of goals. We talk about Alex Cronali, the big center back for Maryland. He's got 6 on the season. Lillard puts himself in some really dangerous spots, still very athletic as Alex Cronali is, and continuing to develop his game. A 2-year difference between those two players. You can see what more higher level play does for players like that.
Ballard back to the goal, keeping possession for Indiana. Plenty of time left to have a winner here in regulation. Thompson with Segbers. Thompson again. Thompson dropped over. Looking for Gutyar. Now cleared out of there by O'Neal.
Hey, face the ball! Mitch, close! Noah,
down near the end line. Roll out of bounds. Well, still plenty of time, but why not some overtime soccer? It's been a familiar theme all season long here, Chris Doran.
Yeah, it has, and it's especially between these two teams, as you've mentioned. And the last couple of weeks, seemingly, as we've covered several games that have gone to overtime before they were decided.
Stand back in. Hey! Shots up, ref. Shots up. That's the other call.
Moore able to clean up the mess. Gutyar pushing forward. 60 seconds remaining. Ballard taking a shot. Handled by Wisconsin. Now Frankie Moore again, playing it into space. Poncho, right-footed. Back across, Ballard, one bounce, still loose. Now Segbers will boot it long. Knew Barlow and Mueller was there, but that wind behind it sends that ball flying. And with that wind, we told you it's around 15 miles per hour. That coin flip for overtime soccer is key. We saw it as part of the Big Ten tournament. Back in 2012 when the Michigan State Spartans and Damon Rensing won the coin toss, had that win at Lakeside Field in Northwestern and used the win to score and beat Shaka Taylor's Michigan Wolverines. Not that kind of win here, but certainly you can see it. And guess what? Overtime soccer between Wisconsin and Indiana, with Maryland awaiting the winner.
Well, it's a good segment, but I think Wisconsin, for all the frustration they had of not having as much of the play in the first half, I don't think they really made up for it in the second half. And they find themselves now in a draw situation, having to go to overtime.
Rashad Hyacinth off the bench with the goal. AJ Palazzolo also getting involved in just his 9th game of the season. And we've got more Sockers. They answer the goal from Christopher Mueller. Tied at 1, overtime, Big Ten semifinals on the Big Ten Network. Overtime soccer in semifinal number 2 as part of the 2016 Big Ten men's soccer tournament. Wisconsin and Indiana tied at 1. It's been an exciting one. Take a look at the bracket. Maryland's already in.
Yeah, you get to this point, it's all about defense and scoring, of course, but there just isn't a lot of it as we roll through this regulation period and go to the overtime period. It's been a good battle so far between Indiana and Wisconsin.
Take a look at the highlights here in the first half.
Yeah, this has been good. I mean, Mark Segbers does a really nice job looking to work in combination, but Mueller plays it out to the outside and then makes the run. Barlow's there, finds Mueller. Mueller drops it in. How about the Badgers going up 1-0? This is great work by Mueller to cut through the traffic and finish the play. 79th minute opportunity for Indiana. Got some subs on the field. That's okay. Frankie Moore. Find your help. AJ Palazzolo with the shot, but this goes off Rashad Hyacinth. The argument, is he offside? Assistant referee says no. That goal stands. We're 1-1 at the end of regulation.
And now we huddle up here for some overtime soccer. Take a look at the overtime rules.
Sudden victory, overtime periods. We'll take a couple of minutes break, and if neither team scores, we'll go to kicks from the penalty spot, which in at least one semifinal is not uncommon. I mean, we saw an overtime game between Maryland and Indiana. We've seen in the championship, of course, but we've also seen Michigan State and Maryland go to penalty kicks. That was exciting at Ludwig Field a couple of years ago. Had some overtime performances last year. Indiana finding themselves going to kicks from the penalty spot with Maryland in the semifinal.
The Wisconsin huddle in all red from head to toe. And the Indiana in all white. On the stat line, Indiana has just been dominant. And I think because of that, they had the faith, the belief, and even some wonderful substitutions to answer the goal from that man, Christopher Mueller, and get the equalizer.
Playing without their second leading goal scorer, Trevor Swartz, who left the game in the first half after a terrible collision. And so Jeremiah Gutyar has been up to the challenge as he stepped in. We actually knew that the two were going to change some time or share some time in that right midfielder slot. But Gutyar now getting the bulk of the time.
So overtime underway here. Big Ten Network style with the Maryland Terrapins awaiting the winner. Here's Segbers off the whistle. As Chris Doran told you, and we showed you with the graphic, you score, you win, and you advance to Championship Sunday. Kept alive. Segbers will get a touch on it into the 18 and cleared out. And O'Neal pushing forward for the Badgers.
He's really strong out of the back. He's got academic all Big Ten honors and has enjoyed a great year for Wisconsin. Christian Lamelli out of Crown Point, Indiana.
Midfield. Wisconsin, Barlow. What a turn, Barlow. Barlow attacking the 18. Barlow's going to take a shot, but right to Lamelli. You thought maybe Barlow was going to drop it off. He got the angle, but really nothing dangerous for Lamelli.
I got to be honest with you, I never know what Barlow's going to do. He does a great job of taking that ball through the defenders. He runs with it. We always tell players, get a touch on that ball as you turn, but he opts not to. And that's because he wants to beat the defenders. If he stops that ball, he's going to be smothered by Indiana. Great decision tactically and technically well executed. Nice opportunity for Barlow to get Wisconsin up.
Gutman. Over the top, still looking for number 4, A.J. Palazzolo, who has stayed in. Why not? The spark he's brought in just his 9th appearance for the Indiana Hoosiers, phenomenal. Top of the 18, falls back. Lillard will leave it for Lamelli. Your thoughts on the job Lamelli has done here?
Well, he's very, very good. He's a great shot stopper. He does a terrific job of putting himself in the right spot. His distribution has been very good, too. He hasn't had to do this very often, typically just distributing by hand to the outside backs, but he also hasn't been tested all that much by Wisconsin, and I think he's lived up to what he's had to face.
Ballard, the other way. Looking near post, Schilling had it covered.
One of the things Rich Ballard has learned to do is play the game more simply. I think part of that comes from a confidence in the player, but also an understanding of who you've got around you. And the confidence in those teammates, too, and how they like to play. Certainly having a player like Tanner Thompson on the field makes life a lot easier and can help you play a lot more simply. Frankie Moore on a nice charging run out of the back, forcing Wisconsin in this sequence to defend him. As a holding midfielder, it's not something you see very often, but he does a really nice job. And, you know, he's sitting back there in the back. We see a lot of Big Ten, a lot of college teams playing with 2 holding mids. One typically will stretch a little bit, another one will stay home, but Frankie Moore stretching the field in that situation.
Yeah, offensively, Frankie Moore has brought a different level today for Todd Yeagley and the Indiana Hoosiers. Couple shots. He has been at the right place at the right time on his tackles. His 5's held up there. Now Gutman. And Alon Koenig with the stand-up. Number 2, Alon Koenig, is down now as he takes a break.
Told you Andrew Gutman loves to play the ball on the dribble.
Alon Koenig is the cousin of Sports Illustrated Seth Davis, who gave us the alert. Despite the pronunciation guide, that's K-A-Y, it's Koenig. He would know because that's his cousin, as we say hello to Seth and all of the Koenigs watching this game. Delighted to have you be with us here watching the Big Ten Network. I'm going to take Seth Davis's word for it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Throw in for Wisconsin, 5 minutes and change. And here's Barlow. Barlow back over. The give and go between Barlow. Hard tackle from Lillard.
Grant Lillard doing a nice job here. He wants to clear the ball to the outside. He has the added benefit of Tommy Barlow closing him down, and the deflection leads to the goal kick. But back we go with Wisconsin and the same matchup.
Barlow to Mueller. Snapped out of there by Mcconnell. And now Indiana. Pushing forward with numbers. Turn for Ballard. Ballard slipping on this excellent surface. Frankie Moore again. Moore, what a ball to Ballard. Ballard with some space, drops it perfectly. Indiana's in. Schilling with the save. It's still loose, deflected out. And the Hoosiers peppering the net at the moment. Down near the end line. Crossed again, still loose. Drop back, shot, deflected. Fives trying to stay with it. Five still. And finally cleared by Wisconsin.
Dean, you see why Wisconsin's enjoyed so much success this year, in part because of their great goalkeeping by Phil Schilling, but also because they're very disciplined defensively. How many blocked shots have we seen here by Wisconsin in the last few minutes? This has been tremendous.
7 saves for Schilling. Fives now on his left foot. Cutting back, what a move from Fives. And finally handled by Wisconsin and cleared long.
Ball into the mixer, and the opportunity for Ballard. He chooses instead to go ahead and drop this ball up. Great stop by Schilling. Palazzolo's in there. Opportunity yet again. Schlenker can't get anything to happen. Phil Fives involved in there as well. Look at the tussle from Wisconsin. Phil Schilling coming up big when called upon this afternoon for the Badgers.
Yeah, that was Reese Buckmaster that was involved for the Indiana Hoosiers. As the theme here for Todd Yeagley going deep to his bench to try to create some magic. Right now it's Mueller back in. Little push from behind, could have been a whistle on Brotherton. It wasn't, as they'll let him play. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. One bounce. Brotherton. It'll fall to Wisconsin. Guitars there, snap back across. And look at Barlow flying, trying to get a half volley on it and put it in the back of the net.
Well, we saw Alex Cronali punish Indiana early in the season with one of those windmill moves. Barlow was looking to do the same thing. Couldn't get quite around it, didn't have the footing to spare. These teams came off of a Sunday matchup in their quarterfinals, and here they are 5 days later with a semifinal and a lot on the line. Admittedly, Wisconsin probably needs this win more than Indiana does. And so, you know, the Badgers are putting as much as they can into this match this evening. That's not to say, of course, that Indiana isn't doing the same.
In the game for the
But that
Badgers,
short
number
rest,
15,
I mean, we're talking about
Noah
recovery
Leibold.
on Monday, running it out on Tuesday, and Wednesday some tactical preparation, then you take it easy on Thursday.
Lamelli, senior goalkeeper, making his 5th appearance on the season. He's allowed just 2 goals in those 5 games.
And of course, he made his first appearance in an Indiana uniform a year ago in the semifinal. He came in for Colin Webb on penalty kicks. Makes you wonder, if we go to PKs tonight, Dean, does Colin Webb come in for Christian Lamelli?
I'm going to say he sticks with Lamelli. Must like what he does in penalty kicks by bringing him in. That was Cody Niedermeyer, though, just standing on his head last year for Maryland, winning the Defensive Player of the Tournament. Cody Niedermeyer and the Terps, you got to believe they've got their feet up, hopefully watching this game right now, seeing who they're going to play.
Got a good look at the wind, Dean, and it's still 15 miles an hour coming out of the north at the backs of the Badgers. To be honest with you, it doesn't appear to have played any sort of advantage for Wisconsin here. Indiana keeping the ball on the deck and doing a nice job in the second half, facing up against that breeze and creating a heck of a lot of chances.
could have a winner right here in the final 30 seconds. Indiana looking to get it in the 18. Wisconsin can counter, though. Plenty of time. Mueller's got Segbers on the left. Barlow as well. Barlow is there. Segbers calling for it. Segbers will get it. Just like that, Segbers in the 18. Back across. Segbers can turn. Can he shoot? He cannot. And Indiana able to handle that last gasp here in the first overtime.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just like during the regular season, these two teams will go to 2 overtimes. And if in the next 10 minutes we don't have a winner, we'll go to penalty kicks.
I don't think either team wants to end up going to kicks from the penalty spot. I think they're interested in finishing this up in overtime through the run of play. I think they want to prove to themselves and to their opponent that they're able to accomplish the task, especially since these games are always so close between Indiana and Wisconsin. Even though you earn the right to advance after having won kicks from the penalty spot, it's still drawn up as a draw, and you want to prove that you can beat that opponent.
Let's show everybody how we got to this point right now. 1-1, semifinal number 2.
Yeah, this was an error by Grant Lillard and picked up by Mark Segbers, who puts it into Mueller, and Mueller looks outside to Barlow. And Barlow now to the corner. He'll go ahead and cross his ball in as Mueller makes the run. He'll finish the play up. Great work by Mueller, but Barlow drops the ball in between the defenders, and Mueller's run was tactically very aware. Did a great job there. We go a little bit later in the half, and the buildup for Indiana involves Frankie Moore dropping this off to A.J. Palazzolo. It is deflected by Rashad Hyacinth, so he'll get the goal. And it's 1-1 at the end of regulation.
Rashad Hyacinth, the transfer from Belmont, saw his playing time diminish late in the season, but coming off the bench for just his 2nd goal of the campaign to match the 8th goal of the year for Christopher Mueller, a first-team All-Big Ten. It takes all kinds and all different levels of players to make it happen here in the Big Ten tournament to get to that final spot as Maryland, a thriller over Michigan in double overtime. Then they beat Michigan State. Indiana, an overtime winner. Trevor Swartz with the goal over Northwestern. Wisconsin walloped the Buckeyes, and here we are tied at 1.
It's ironic that Maryland and Indiana were the 2 teams that had to go to overtime last weekend to solve the riddle. Maryland able to get out of their matchup against Michigan State in regulation. Indiana playing extra time again for the 2nd time in 6 days.
Boy, it's interesting that you saw Schilling right there. As you start to think, you already mentioned it, you start to think about spots from the penalty. Although we've got 10 minutes, Philip Schilling and Christian Lamelli, 2 of the smaller goalkeepers you're going to see are going to have to look big if we do get there. Plenty of time, though, to find a winner as Indiana has outshot Wisconsin 28-4. 4 shots by Wisconsin ties their low this season. They had just 4 against FIU, a game they lost 1-0 back on September 2nd. So give the Hoosiers a lot of credit. They have put the clamps down on this big-time attack for Wisconsin. I want to thank our great stat man, Nick Pinto, for doing a great job as always. Kelly Grasho, the SID from Wisconsin. Mr. Burns from Indiana took over for Melanie Schneider, one of the best in the business, as Indiana keeps it going.
Overtime games, Indiana 2-0-6, so they haven't lost in OT. Wisconsin 2-2-3 in overtime games.
Gutman. Poncho. Poncho dancing back near the end line. Completely held off the ball there. Is excellent defense by Matej Radonjic.
Poncho figured into last week's final piece of the puzzle for Indiana with the service inside to Trevor Swartz, who was able to finish on a head ball against Northwestern to advance the Hoosiers to this weekend's semifinal. Garnered a lot of playing time here in this second half of play and even into the overtime.
Segbers with a give and go from Hale. Segbers is there, and what a save by Lamelli, saving the day. Are you kidding me? Point blank. How did Segbers get through, and how did number 30 make the save to keep this one tied at 1?
I think it's Frankie Moore who's actually got an elbow up, and he's slowing down Mark Segbers as he's penetrating on the dribble. Yeah, and Segbers is not able to get over the ball, but how about Lamelli with the big-time save, and Segbers with the determination to fight through those defenders.
Number 30, Christian Lamelli, making the most of this opportunity late in the season. Todd Yeagley, a gut decision, he called it, to make the switch. Two outstanding goalkeepers, as we talked about earlier. Look at Lamelli. Oh my, he comes flying out. Takes down Segbers, but gets the ball first. Perhaps a good non-whistle right there, as he did punch the ball before hitting Segbers. We'll take another look at that when we can.
Super courageous stuff from Christian Lamelli, and you know Mark Segbers wants to make good on that last chance as he comes barreling through the top of the box, chasing that loose ball.
Brotherton handles the pressure. Foul on Wisconsin.
This is another opportunity as Segbers is on the run chasing this loose ball, but Lamelli gets to it first, and you're right, Dean. Incidental contact on the follow-through for Lamelli. How about Lamelli not saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go out and smother that ball. I'm just going to go ahead and punch it out. Great decision-making from the senior.
Now Indiana, they'll get it in the 18. They'll turn with Poncho, back across. Hyacinth's got one, was looking for the brace and the celebration. A bounce and a foul, a push. Fives didn't think so, but it'll come back to Wisconsin. 5 minutes, 50 seconds remaining here in the second overtime. Maryland is in. They'll play on Sunday, awaiting the winner here between Wisconsin and Indiana. Gutman pushing it forward. Turns out to be a beautiful pass to Hyacinth down near the corner flag as Gutman played it into the speed and space there, and Hyacinth tracked it down. Thompson will check it back. Thompson wanted it back. Not on the same page that time with Fives, and Thompson will quickly run over, quick throw in.
It's a little bit more of what we saw from Indiana. Rashad Hyacinth stretching the field as a target player up top.
What a ball from Thompson, threading the needle there to Gutyar. And Thompson is on it. Thompson is in. Thompson with the shot deflected. And now Segbers comes out of there.
Tanner Thompson a little slow to get up after that last sequence.
Sent back across again, loose. Schilling punches it out. It'll fall to the feet of Buckmaster. Reese Buckmaster, the sophomore from Auburn, Indiana's put in a solid shift as well off the bench for Todd Yeagley. The bench play from both these teams, but particularly the Indiana Hoosiers, as they were looking for that answer. Todd Yeagley going deep with A.J. Palazzolo, Rashad Hyacinth with the goal, and now number 19, Reese Buckmaster. Less than 4 minutes to find a winner without penalty kicks. Talked about that bench for Indiana. 6 shots off the bench and a goal. That'll work.
That is a great stat. Nick Superstuff. Tanner Thompson again slow to get up. We mentioned how he's trying to get back to healthy after taking a knock against Northwestern. And we're talking about an ankle issue that he nursed back to health, but now in the last minute and a half, he has
In the game for the Badgers,
taken quite a bit of contact, has been slow to get up,
In the game for the Hoosiers, number 18, Richard
and he'll
Ballard.
come off.
Yeah, he is banged up. Todd Yeagley will give him a pad as well, as we could be looking at penalty kicks. There's Palazzolo, number 4. He's one of the heroes for sure. And you can bet he's always invested, but even more playing such a key role here in the second half.
Indiana.
Well, you take a Thompson out, though, a Tanner Thompson, even at 50%, and you're taking something out of your offensive flow. He's just that good.
Yeah, he's been terrific, and you come to learn how much a team relies on him, and when he's healthy and has been for much of the season, he's breeding confidence through the other 10 players.
Barlow. Speaking of confidence, Christian Lamelli has not panicked for a second. You saw that point-blank save on Segbers. You saw him flying across the left side of the 18 with total disregard to his body. And even on that last play, looked as cool as a cucumber. Chris Doran, penalty kicks last year in the Big Ten tournament. Lamelli came on, as you said, against Maryland, and we're 90 seconds from penalty kicks again.
Yeah, and Indiana hoping that the result is different this time. They lost 3-2 to Maryland in the kicks from the penalty spot. Dean, they're hoping to get to Sunday this year. 2 really good goalkeepers would be involved in a shootout if we get to that point.
60 seconds. Mueller earning the foul, wanted a card instead. Oh, there will be a card. I thought Mueller almost earned one just for dissent, but they will give that card to Indiana.
Frankie Moore picking up the card.
Clock is stopped. 62 seconds remaining.
1 minute
Bombed
remaining.
in. Punched out just for safety by Lamelli.
Yellow card caution was given to Indiana's number 13, Francesco Moore.
Good call. It was Moore with the yellow card. Long throw in from Hale, senior. And now it looks like both teams will be content to handle this one from the spot. Now keep in mind, it'll also go down as a tie for Wisconsin.
Which helps them in the RPI. Is that your point, Dr. Dean?
Absolutely.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Indiana stretches their unbeaten streak to 8.
1.
Wisconsin to 6.
At the end of
But we've got to have somebody take on Sasso Soroski and the Maryland Terrapins, and we'll decide it from the penalty spot, Chris.
It was a decent stanza of overtime soccer. You know, at times it seemed a little bit undercommitted in terms of numbers in the box for both teams, but overall this has been a very long week. I can't emphasize enough just how quickly these teams have had to turn around. I know they've had to do it even on shorter rest over the course of the regular season, but those quarterfinal matches can be emotionally and physically draining on Sunday afternoon, and here they are after a travel day Thursday performing on Friday afternoon for the chance to a championship. Tanner Thompson and Trevor Swartz are the only 2 players who've taken penalty kicks all season for Indiana, and only 1 player has taken, yet he has converted, a penalty kick for Wisconsin, and that is Chris Mueller.
All right, we're tied at 1, and let's show everybody watching how we got to this point.
Yep, 56th minute, great work by Wisconsin, pouncing on Indiana's error from the back, and the ball out from Mueller to Barlow and Barlow to Mueller, and the finish puts Wisconsin up by 1. Mueller does a great job of cutting in through the traffic and gets around Lamelli. Indiana had an answer in the 79th minute. They brought on Rashad Hyacinth and a guy named A.J. Palazzolo. And this is what resulted. The shot by Palazzolo and Hyacinth with the finish. And the Hoosiers draw even.
Celebration for the transfer from Belmont, and there is your bracket. The #1 team in the country, your Big Ten regular season champion, Maryland Terrapins, getting through the Michigans, the Wolverines, and the Spartans. And it's going to take penalty kicks to see whether it's the #2 seed Indiana Hoosiers or the #3 seed Wisconsin Badgers. Schilling with 7 saves during the game, Lamelli with 3 saves. And now they'll feature prominently between the pipes here on penalty kicks.
Indiana hasn't allowed a penalty kick all season, and so we have no record of success or failure there. 1 penalty kick awarded to a Wisconsin opponent, and that was converted. So Phil Schilling has seen 1 and allowed 1.
Officiating crew getting together. There's Keith Tiemeyer, most likely making another joke over on the Wisconsin bench.
Now it appears as though the referees have chosen the goal where the goalkeeper is staring at the 15-mile-an-hour wind. So the benefit in this part of the match is going to be, I would trust, in favor of the shooters.
So penalty kicks awaiting. Meanwhile, just a stone throw away, you start to wonder about what the Maryland Terrapins are doing. You wonder as well as just a stone throw away from the Chris Doran original family residence if that cheesecake is brewing, as you think about the Maryland Terrapins looking like that golden cheesecake. They look pretty golden today as well at times.
Yeah, if you haven't put the topping on that cheesecake and prepared to sit down with a nice hot cup of coffee and enjoy a slice of that cheesecake, you're missing out, because that Terrapin squad is a solid group of players. They are hard to beat, Dean. Maryland is just hard to beat.
I wouldn't mind getting to that spaghetti sauce first, though, before the cheesecake.
You want the spaghetti sauce recipe from a year ago? I got it for you.
Right now, we're just searching for a winner here. Penalty kicks awaiting. We thank you for being with us on the Big Ten Network. Alongside Indiana Soccer Hall of Famer Chris Doran, I'm Dean Linke. Delighted to be with you all day long here. The Maryland Terrapins humming along, now 17-0-2. They're already in Sunday's championship game.
And this is Championship Field at Grand Park, site of 30-some-odd soccer fields, baseball fields, American football fields, and an indoor facility with 3 full-size indoor fields. This is one of the inaugural events on this stadium surface.
Shooting first for the Hoosiers, #13, Phil Fives.
All right, Phil Fives. Love the shot that Keon Dolat-Shahi, our producer-director, gave us right there of Lamelli and Schilling, both wearing number 30 with the hug. Great sportsmanship, and here we go. So Schilling between the pipes. Fives with the first attempt, and Schilling with the save. And Schilling, the German superstar, getting it done.
The first PK is blocked.
Left-footed player, you know it. And he looks to cut across his body, and Schilling guesses right. Schilling's guessing before the foot is planted.
Now the captain for Wisconsin, the New Zealand international. And what a job by Schilling to allow Brotherton perhaps to breathe a little bit easier here, knowing that he just saw his goalkeeper stop the attempt by Fives. And here comes Brotherton. Shootout #1 for the Badgers, and he absolutely roofs it over the crossbar, not even close.
You'd expect a guy with international experience maybe to treat that a little differently. but Brotherton gets way underneath that ball. Looking to drive it, he actually chips it.
That lonely walk back after missing. And here's Tanner Thompson. We told you about his injuries, suffered in the Northwestern game. We saw him kind of slugging along, but here he goes with the opportunity and right down the middle. Why not? Schilling leaning left, Thompson down the middle, and it's 1-0 Indiana.
They lead in PKs by a score of 1-0.
I think Thompson was drained leaving in that overtime session, so he gets a couple of minutes rest, and he's able to come in a little fresh anyway and put this ball away.
He clearly picked up that Schilling was leaning, and he just went right where Schilling started, right down the middle. So now Barlow. Tommy Barlow, the junior from St. Louis, and Barlow, no doubt. Lomeli goes left, Barlow goes the other way, and after 2 rounds, we're at ones.
1-1. Shooting next for Indiana, number 13.
Good work by Barlow, the real quick release, not wasting any time on the approach. Get to see Frankie Moore now.
So Frankie Moore had himself an outstanding game. That's an outstanding finish and a wonderful turn as well. Hand in the air. And Indiana now up 2-1 with Wisconsin coming up with their 3rd attempt.
Next up for the Badgers, number 30, Philip
Moore
Schilling.
with the finish, right-footed.
Hey, how about this? Phil Schilling's going to go ahead and take a shot. Not
Boy.
surprising, he's good with his feet, we've been told.
He is. This is pretty early, though. We'll see what happens. Oh, my. Are you kidding me? That was a struck as good as you can strike it. Schilling with the hammer.
One of the things about goalkeepers is that they can't stand penalty kick practice because the field players are always pounding them, and so they say, you know what, you get in goal and you try to stop my shot. So they get really good at retaliating against field players who think they're so great finishing a shot.
Let's see if he's got some pep after that finish. A little nifty move there coming by Indiana. Poncho able to finish at number 12. So speaking of St. Louis, both teams, Barlow from St. Louis, he makes it for Wisconsin. Poncho from St. Louis for Indiana, and here's Poncho.
Great finish by Poncho, nice and smooth. Schilling going right in anticipation. Wisconsin's got to tuck this one in.
Yeah, now the pressure all over the Wisconsin Badgers. You see the check marks right there. Both teams missing. 5s saved. Brotherton completely missed it. And a no-doubter now coming from the senior with a little bit of attitude as well. Talking about Matej Radonic. The Croatian makes it 3-3.
Radonic does a nice job. He's got a long approach here, but lifts it up into the opposite corner from Lomeli's guess. Oh, and a look to kill, too.
Yeah, he kind of brought that swagger off the bench. You saw it as well. And now here's one of the heroes off the bench for Indiana. A little bit of pressure here now for Rashad Hyacinth. He scored the goal, and he missed the penalty kick. And so now Wisconsin can advance. So celebration and now a little bit of heartbreak potentially for Hyacinth.
Well, this is unfortunate. Does a really nice job of picking his spot, probably 9 times out of 10. He's putting that in, and I don't think even if he tucks it in the post, I don't think Schilling's got a hand on this one.
So you know the story. Christopher Mueller, he scored the goal to give Wisconsin the lead. He's a first-team All-Big Tenner, and he can help Wisconsin advance to the championship game. Take your shirt off. The Badgers will play on Sunday.
Wisconsin wins 4-3 in PKs.
Dean, we talked about the confidence that John Trask has in this group of Badgers this year. The coaching job that he has done and the job that he's done with the help of his assistants to prepare this team to go a long way. They want to make a dent in the postseason soccer story in the college ranks, and I think they're prepared to do it. Sunday, a great opportunity to knock off the #1 team in the country.
Alon Koenig with a hug for Schilling. Everybody off the bench. And how about the winning kick? Christopher Mueller. Who else would you want up there right now?
Boy, he's a sharpshooter, isn't he? Does a really nice job. Whether he feigns Lamelli or not, does a really nice job of making this shot clean.
Well, that's it.
Side netting.
For now, Chris Doran from Indianapolis with our final score. The winner in penalty kicks, Wisconsin, will advance. We'll see you at 2 o'clock for the Big Ten Men's Soccer Championship. For Chris Doran, I'm Dean Linke. Thanks for being with us.